Afternoon, I'm going to go live with Jihan Adem, founder of Bowen College UK, wonderful human being and wonderful friend. So I've been training as a Bowen therapist over well, I've just started my journey in the last couple of months. Although I've been working with Bowen College now for at least a couple of years, and I've been enjoying every minute of it. So Jihan Adem is the founder of Bowen College UK. She's been a pioneer in the field of Bowen therapy since it was introduced to the UK in 1995. She runs a thriving practice in Devon whilst also participating in international conferences. She also collaborates with top anatomy specialists in her work with fascia-focused anatomy labs as a dissection specialist, and she runs week-long dissection workshops with a fascia focus in the Planetarium in Germany. Very exciting. So I've just seen that you've joined. I'm going to view your request. And hello.
Hi. So great to see you. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh, it's so lovely to be able to have this conversation. So thank you for agreeing to chat with me tonight. I've got lots of questions for you. So I've just given you a brief intro, so I'm going to dive right in if that's okay. And I think the first thing I want to ask you is for anyone that doesn't know the full story of your past with Bowen Therapy, what first drew you to Bowen, and then what made you want to build a college around it?
They're such vastly different questions. So I first came across Bowen Amy, so the first person that kind of watched Tom Bowen's work. When he came over to the UK, I was kind of like one of the people in the room watching him work, and I happened to be worked on like physically receiver treatment during that time. And that was my first introduction to Bowen, which seems like a million years ago, but it was only really like 3 decades ago. And yes, so I quite by the chance fell across Bowen. I didn't look for therapy training course. Just happened to be running one of the residential treatment places where the courses were being taught. So that's how I came across Bowen therapy. And from there, without really understanding or having any of it explained, I noticed that my body was changing so much and my health was changing so much from the treatment that kind of like led me on a little path to find out about what is this Bowen therapy thing. And I don't think I could ever have imagined having the setup that we have now with the organisation that we have now. There's so many people around the country now. Oh, it makes me feel a little bit like, gosh, it's been these last 30 years. So yeah, my wish from, like, if we fast forward in time to where we are now with Bowen College UK, is that kind of like spark of interest can still live in those that come across Bowen therapy. And if it suits them, they can either receive treatment or they can train in a type of way that they can just be able to treat family and friends around them. Or if it really stirs some interest inside them and some passion and they'd like to train, we have one of the best quality courses, definitely in the UK and throughout Europe as well. So yeah, so it's that kind of like spark of interest, Bowen, and then keeping it going.
Yeah, amazing. And I've just to say I've been really enjoying my journey of learning Bowen therapy, starting with the intro course a couple of years ago now, and actually stepping into my journey to become a Bowen practitioner just in the last couple of months. And it is profound work, and also having received treatments as well. I'm really noticing the effects, and just I love how gentle the therapy is, but also impactful. So definitely, I'm very grateful to be part of the wonderful world of Bowen. And I just wanted to ask as well, like, was there a moment in your Bowen journey when you realized that it needs to be taught in a particular way, or a way that you might not have been seeing it being taught in other places?
I think most definitely. And that moment came probably about 15 years into me actually teaching Bowen therapy. So I trained as a Bowen therapist, and I was asked if I'd like to join an organisation and teach Bowen therapy, which I did for a number of years. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I was teaching somebody else's program. And I noticed that many people were qualifying. And although they were very good at doing the typical Bowen move, and they were wonderful people and they were really enthused with their practice, practice, they finished the training and still had many questions. And so when I stepped from that training organisation into the kind of like worldwide Bowen College family, it gave me the opportunity to really embellish that initial training and add to it. So the moment came when I saw that people still had questions that weren't being answered, and I wanted to facilitate more answers.
I think that's a really interesting thing as well, because obviously I've started my journey as a newbie, but also realizing that quite a lot of people who are already trained as Bowen therapists come to the college to essentially top up their training. So that's also something that I wanted to ask about as well. So with the kind of practitioners that have good foundations but feel like they want more depth and confidence in what they're doing later, do you see them looking for something in particular when they return to training? So just on what you said.
We see this quite often because we have a completely different way of training to the previous courses, whereby somebody can come for the practitioner, the like long professional training. We teach over a period of 4 days. And in that 4-day period, there's the opportunity for kind of like practitioners who have been qualified previously to come into the training room, and cover everything that we're covering over those 4 days, plus a little bit more work that they maybe haven't seen before. And, you know, having spent some time in practice and honing your skills with one-to-one practice with clients, it doesn't necessarily mean that you remember everything that was taught before. So it gives you the opportunity to refresh, really engage in conversations. And, you know, the fascia anatomy field has grown exponentially over the last 20, 30 years. Anatomical understanding of why Bowen is so beneficial for so many reasons has grown exponentially. You know, when Bowen was first taught, it was like, well, because Tom Bowen said so, that's how we do it. And absolutely fantastic. You know, Tom was a genius in his work. But now we've got so many more ways that we can explain why we're changing what we're changing. So an opportunity to come to the classroom now means that you can have a completely different conversation to the one that was maybe 1 decade or 2 decades ago. So yeah, there's that. And, you know, the CPD opportunities that we have too.
I can see how that would really help practitioners to build even more confidence in their work. An interesting kind of thought on that is, what do you think? So being a confident practitioner, do you think there's like a responsibility associated with that, and what that might look like actually in clinic, being confident in the work that you're doing if you're deep in your practice already?
Yeah, I think there's definitely space for upskilling the majority of the time, you know, and I was in the beginning one of those people that just wanted to do all the trainings with all of the people so I could have all of the information. But actually that's not necessarily the way information settles in. So to do training, to set back, to kind of like experiment with clients in the nicest possible way, like use the work that you've recently learned, come away, come back with questions, and kind of moving along that tread gives you the opportunity to feel more at ease with the work that you're doing, know which work to use with which presenting person comes towards you. And that brings confidence over a period of time. And then especially now with the anatomy and fascial anatomy information that is more readily available, and conversations that we have in the room, and research that's been done in the last few years that we can incorporate into the training. When somebody steps up to you and wants a treatment, you can confidently say, look, or even if it's to yourself, I have an idea of what I'm doing here, so let's move forward and see if it makes the changes I'm expecting it to see. So yeah, I think confidence is important, but whilst kind of like staying humble and open for the changes that happen through Bowen anyway.
Yeah. And you mentioned CPDs, and we were just catching up, and just like I was admiring the long list of all the different things and the different courses that you offer at Bowen College UK, which I think is one of the things that really makes the college stand out, because there's just such a wealth of experience and knowledge within the community of tutors around the college, as well as with yourself. and just that there's just the options of where to go with your practice next. It's just beautiful. So I'm very much looking forward to my journey of becoming a practitioner and then delving into some of the other areas that you can kind of take the work in.
Absolutely.
I just want to say, so kind of moving on from practitioners who could like come and do more work with the college, I want to like take it to the perspective of someone who maybe only just knows what Bowen Therapy is, maybe has had a treatment before, doesn't really know much about it, doesn't know how it works. And just some of the people come to the introductory course, like myself, out of personal interest, and others use it as potentially a full first step into a new career path or practitioner training. So how do you see that pathway working from those first steps?
This is such an important part of Bowen College, really. Myself and Manon Bolliger, who's in Canada and North America, where we really met together, Manon and myself, is our desire that Bowen becomes such a popular type of therapy that it becomes a household name. And that's why these Introduction to Bowen courses were originally written, not necessarily as a stepping stone to go on to the practitioner training, but it's a 2-day course, and it's a 2-day course for a reason. It's not a taster course, although it could be perceived as a taster course because then you get to understand how we work in the training room, etc. But it's not a taster course. It's a course where you learn a whole body treatment that's immediately usable with family and friends. And the reason why it's over 2 days instead of 1 day is because most people's learning style isn't see it once, got it. You know, there's about 5% of the population that are instant convincers. The rest of us either need to see it a number of times or over a period of time. And that's why we run the 2-day course and not a 1-day taster course. So that 2-day course is fantastic for anybody just wishing to treat their little one who's not settling at night, you know, a partner coming home from work who's got, you know, stress-related tension in their upper body, somebody that maybe can't travel to a treatment room. You know, there are so many reasons why the 2-day course on its own is fantastic. Also, it gives anybody that's looking to do the longer training, it gives them an opportunity to learn the Bowen move, learn different placements on the body, get really familiar with the whole body treatment, go away, have some practice, come back with some questions so that when they step onto the practitioner training, like the professional, I would like to be known as a Bowen Therapy person, that longer training, they're not coming in blind. You know, they're not learning how to do this and how to do this on the first day. They've already been experimenting with the work a little bit with guidelines and with tutor support. So yeah, that's for us, that's really important, is that first step, which can be the only step, or it's the fantastic stepping stone for anything afterwards.
Yeah, and I think that was the thing that struck me after the intro course, is it was enough time with the moves to feel confident in doing that at home. And then also knowing that therapy has no contraindications as well. You feel very kind of confident to be able to deliver like an intro for someone else and know that it's going to have a positive effect. And then also I found walking into the certification course as well, that once you've kind of like spent 2 days with the moves, they do start feeling very natural. So I did feel like that was very helpful to have that background. So yeah, works really well together in my experience so far as a student. So I want to ask you another question more just about the type of people who might be drawn to doing this work. In your experience, what kind of person tends to want to train as a Bowen therapist? So not just the intro, but to actually take it all the way and have a new career with this modality?
There's definitely 2 distinct groups. And predominantly it's been like this for the last decades, is kind of like the older, wiser person who's had a career, maybe brought children up, and they've got a bit of time on their hands and they're thinking, right, what can I do that would interest me now? So they've got that caring aspect within them. They've done something before this moment now, and they would like to do something that continues to care for people, but could also be an income stream and is of interest. And then there's also there's a much younger generation coming through now who have heard about Bowen. They, you know, it's not the first time that the Bowen word has come into their awareness, and they're already trained physiotherapists, and they want to add Bowen as another skill set, because, you know, to train to be a physiotherapist, for example, is a number of years training, whereas with Bowen, you know, 18 months with all the coursework, you can get to use it very easily with all sorts of presentations. And so, yeah, we're seeing two very distinct groups coming through. And then there are the people in the middle. So like career changers, or, you know, somebody that would like to explore doing another type of manual therapy, maybe massage therapists who've got tired hands, reflexologists that've got tired thumbs. And we've also had lots of people that have been previously working in talking-based therapies that would like to do something more somatic now. They'd like to have their hands on rather than be cerebral about their work. So yeah, it's the lovely thing about this work is that it's open to anybody that has, like we say, two hands and a big heart, like somebody that really has the best intentions. It's very adaptable.
I don't know. Yeah. I think that's from my experience so far with the certification course and the people that are drawn to it. It's just such an amazing group of wonderful people. I mean, the 4 days that I've spent so far were just like so much fun and just like really lovely people involved. So I think it's really drawing also a wide range of people from different backgrounds who are starting this from different places. So yeah, that's really very lovely people drawn to Bowen.
Generally, yes. Yeah, for sure.
As well. So for the people that have come to CBH, so the certification course that have trained elsewhere in different modalities, what are they usually looking for? So you mentioned like massage therapists who might have tired hands, or what do you think it is that makes like Bowen such an attractive prospect as a career for people that have already trained in other bodywork therapies?
I think it's so versatile, you know, because we're with Bowen Therapy, we're really relying on the body's innate ability to self-correct. The work is minimal intervention in for maximum effort out. So where if you can imagine having a lovely massage, you're really relying on the massage therapist to have a fantastic skill set in order for you to feel great at the end of the session. Whereas with Bowen Therapy, we're relying on the body's innate ability to self-correct. And all we're doing is saying to certain areas of the body, what do you need to be okay? What do you need to be okay? So more akin to acupuncture than other hands-on modalities. We're going to specific points and putting an intervention in there. So making a Bowen move there, or, you know, and it relies on the body's ability to go, oh, no, actually, I do need to change in that area. And then the change happens, whether it be musculoskeletally, fascially, neurologically, lymphatically. And of course, the body doesn't know that it has different systems. It is just a body. So the versatility of Bowen means that we can work with people with so many different presentations. So it's not just somebody with soreness in their back or tennis elbow or pain in the neck or headaches. You know, that's easy when it comes to treating people, and we can really varied and exciting and different presentations as well, because we're always treating the person that's in front of us. So it's not hard work on our body. And for me, I feel a bit like a body detective sometimes, or a health detective sometimes. It's like, why is the person presenting like this today? And because no two clients are going to be the same, it keeps the day so varied. So yeah, it's a really a fantastic modality to work with.
Oh, I think that's something I'm really seeing with the training and looking at what it's very like it's quite intensive and it's very thorough, but it also from a student perspective feels very accessible and doable. And I really enjoying that balance because I wonder if that's something when you were developing the certification program for Bowen College, whether there was, what would you say makes your particular certification program different from other colleges, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't mind you asking because it is very different. And having taught the other courses for 15 plus years, I'm the only insider that knows the difference between the course that I've taught previously and this one now. So this course, we tend to teach them where people come and stay on site if at all possible. And now if people need to travel away to go home because they've got family or pets or whatever, then that's how it is.
You've frozen for a second, Jihan. I don't know if
It's not a 9 to 5
I'm just going to stop you a sec. Can you rewind about 20 seconds because you froze for a moment, but you're back.
And so I was just saying, now, as much as possible, we like to run a training course over a period of 4 days where people are on site for those 4 days. So it's not a 9 to 5 course, and we don't have a set schedule of we do this on day 1 and this on day 2 and this on day 3 and this on day 4. So the course is very much built around the group that are attending. And because most people stay on site, we've got the flexibility to really, if the conversation is great and everybody's on board, we can go as long into the day as we like to and as deeply into the subject matter as we want to. And another great thing about staying on site is that if you get to a point where you just think, okay, I'm full up for today, then there's breakout space. Because, obviously you're receiving lots of treatment whilst you're on the treatment training course. So that we call them healing accelerators because it does accelerate your own healing capacity, both in doing and in receiving treatment. So that's very different from the other schools, which are more kind of like 9 to 5 on module 1, you do this, on module 2, you do this, on module 3, etc., etc. And so we don't teach in that modular way. We cover all of the protocols that we're going to cover, or the majority of them, on the first training, and then as we meet again and again and again, we just go deeper in terms of the connections between the protocols, how the person responds to treatment, the anatomy around it, the fascial anatomy around it, and the implications of kind of where you take the work on to the next level. So each time, in the years gone by on courses that I've taught, we kind of like teach half the syllabus for the first half of the course and the second half of the syllabus in the second half of the course. But if you're leaving the training and you need to treat somebody that needs one of those later protocols in order to change, you've missed out on using the work that could be effective. So that's one of the reasons why we teach it in this way. And it's a teaching process that's been taught around the world like this. So Bowen College has Bowen College UK has a sister college in Canada and North America. We also have training happening in Slovenia and other countries around the world. So it's, in theory, you can jump from country to country and still receive the same training. But generally groups stick together, and then you kind of have that power, and the group dynamic carries people forward through their training as well.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that I found really valuable as well, just the group of people and feeling like you're on that journey together. And in terms of the 4 days and the way that it's held, personally, I really loved it because it almost felt like you were on a retreat in some ways. So it was like you were learning and studying, but I also in this way feeling the effects of gathering in that way and receiving information in the way that it's a very cool experience. And I can see why you'd teach in that way. So I'm gonna jump around a little bit, and I want to talk a little bit more back again to like the intro courses and the wonderful Bowen tutors that are part of the college, who I feel lucky enough to have spent a decent amount of time with. They're all amazing people, so knowledgeable. Just what's your just whatever I want to. I just wanted to kind of gush about it really and just say awesome group of people. But also just as your kind of founder journey in developing the college in the way that you have, what was your kind of thinking and who you brought on board, and what was that development process from I'm going to start up a college to then bringing in such wonderful people to spread the word of Bowen Therapy?
Okay, well, I didn't think I'm going to set up a college for one. I just wanted that. I was a good friend of mine, Ron Phelan, put me in touch with Manon Bolliger, and I said, no, I don't want to do it. Thank you very much, but thank you. That's a great idea, but I don't think so. And after one conversation, everything fell into place, and 6 weeks later, we had Bowen College UK. So it wasn't I didn't initially think, yes, this morning I'm going to wake up and make a training organisation. That is not how it happened. It was just the right people, right time, right energy, and it was born. So there's history there that is kind of like just irrelevant now. So Bowen College UK is here. And what I really wanted to do is connect with other therapists who had had years in therapy practice, to ask them if they would also like to share some of their wisdom. So the people that we have within Bowen College, that the people that teach Bowen, because there are people that teach other things, but the people that teach Bowen have been in clinical practice themselves for at least 15, if not 20 or more so years. That's not to say we don't have some newer people coming along that haven't been in practice for such a long time, but they've got a really good way with the work. And so all of these wonderful individuals use Bowen day in, day out. They are the pillars of Bowen in their communities around the country. And I just feel really lucky that they've said yes. And so, you know, we're about to have an influx of more tutors coming into the college, which is fantastic. But currently, the team that we have here, we just need we need more because there's so much call for learning Bowen. But the team are wonderful. So they're all in therapy practice themselves. So they're actually doing it. It's not a theoretical understanding. It's an actual understanding of Bowen. They're great with people. And they have also the passion to share what they know as well. So that was the kind of, those are the qualities. It wasn't a particular educational stance, or it was literally somebody that had the passion to share what they know and to help others do the same.
Great. Very, very cool. I've got a couple of questions before we start to wrap things up, and I just want to ask you, if someone's watching who's already qualified in either Bowen or another type of bodywork therapy, and they feel a bit stuck, unconfident, maybe ready for more depth, or things aren't really working out for them in their practice and what they're doing currently, what would you say to them? What's your...
Get in touch. And that's what I would say. We have the introductory courses. We've got the CBHT course, the Certified Bone Healthcare Therapist course, which is the most involved course in teaching bone therapy in the UK. We have safeguarding trainings. So if you've not touched on safeguarding before, this is open to absolutely anybody in the manual therapy world. I'm looking at a list because we've got such a long, extensive list of training. We've got, courses, better breathing for better health. So some courses that are online versus having to travel to a training room. The topics are so vast and varied. I am absolutely certain we will have something that would spark your interest and just add into what you already know. From the kind of 2 or 3 hour trainings that we hold online through to week-long dissections, where you can really get your hands on actual human tissue and really understand the relationships between those tissues to really bed in your understanding of how the body works and would potentially respond to Bowen. And then everything in the middle. We've got movement courses, we've got practitioner development courses, we've got some new TMJ courses coming out. We've got a very cool ultrasound and Bowen course coming for 2027 called Seeing Bowen. We've got an effective note-taking course. I mean, there's such an array of potential learning, from theory through to practice, and, making your practice really colourful with the extras like breathing exercises and, how to hold space for people and enhancing your therapeutic touch. Like there's so much that we've got to offer, whether somebody is a newbie into this therapy world or would like to add a little bit more in. Then, the website that we have holds most of the information. But I'm really also passionate that there's also a human on the end of the phone any day of the week. So, people are very welcome to get in touch and ask, what do we have for them that they might be interested in?
Oh, amazing. Thank you. So I'll make sure that once we've posted this, that I'll also make that the links are available so that people can find you easily. And so just the website is, I'm looking at it now, so I'm going to say the URL just in case you want to type it in, Bowen College bowen.org.uk. You can search Bowen College UK and you'll find Bowen College really easily. Jihan, it's just been so lovely to catch up with you in this way and to hear more about the story of how the college came into being. And I'm looking forward to having many more chats with you in this way. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you for asking, and great to see you.
Lovely to see you too. Looking forward to seeing you again soon, and hope you have a lovely evening. And yeah,
until next time.
Until next time.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye. Bye. Bye.